First of all, maybe if you could take a moment to introduce yourself, and also I'll ask you what is your metaphor for data. I think it's a good starting point.
Okay.
So please, Seth.
All right, I'll start. I'm Seth Curry. I'm head of AI for Kaiser Permanente's health plan group. My metaphor AI was kind of stolen by him, but
Sorry.
but yeah, that's fine. But I think the best metaphor that I've heard, and I think that I typically work with is, data is the fuel, and it can be used for various different things. But it is, like you said, crude oil, right? It needs to be refined. Just in my experience, I think being in the data field for almost about 20 years. Recently moved over to AI 10 years ago. When I say recent.
I was going to say recent is definitely interpretable.
But yeah, so I and my team, we work with our sales and account management teams to basically develop models for go-to-market strategies and evaluating market assessments and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Shipra, please.
Hi, I'm Shipra. I work with Nielsen IQ. We are a company that provides consumer intelligence for our clients to unlock growth opportunities. So basically, we're a data company. Data is our product. I work in the data science division of the company. I lead a small team of people who can translate data science into client language. Officially, it's called client engagement, global client engagement. My metaphor for data, because of the industry and I've worked in this industry almost all my professional life, we used to always say that any data set or any single data point is a story waiting to be told.
I like it. I've also heard data is currency, and technically in your case, because
in our case, it is the currency.
Data,
literally, so NIQ, Nielsen, as most of you might know it as, is a 100-year-old company. Market share, the concept of market share was coined by the founder, so it's pretty much the currency for any company, market share today. The media part of the business, the TRPs and readers rating, it's pretty much the currency.
Sure, please.
Michelle Carlson, head of data science strategy over at Domino. Recovering industry analyst. I was at Forrester for 4 years covering the data science and AI space. So I get to say things like, yeah, Gen AI is a big thing. I told you so like 2 years ago. Also the head of host of the Data Science Leaders podcast, where we are really trying to get recognition for success stories when it comes to data science, and obviously share best practices around that. So if any of you are looking to drive awareness for your success stories, please let me know. We'd love to have you on the show.
Awesome. So the concept and the topic of conversation is essentially org chart and talent and people. I think every organization seems to have a different structure when it comes to data. I think as an industry, and even arguably the moniker of chief data officer, chief data analytics officer, somehow chief analytics officer being separate than chief data officer. There's a lot of different kind of, I'll call it confusing points of how do you actually organize these types of functions inside of a company. Within your respective companies and within your experience, where does the data science organization live, and is it in the right place? So I'll start with you, Shipra.
Yeah, so I think where does the data science live in a company will really depend on what the company does. In case of my company, Nielsen IQ, and my industry, okay, since data is what we sell, data and analytics is our product. Interestingly, data science keeps moving where it sits, but latest it sits under product leadership.
Where was it before?
Just recently. Before that, it was in operations, because that's what we do day in and day out. And data, as a data company, our whole cycle is from data acquisition to processing to whatever you model on top on that, creating the product and selling the product to a client. So it's unique in the sense that everybody in the company is involved in the data at some stage, right? So everybody has some basic data analytics, if not advanced. And there will be different divisions that will be advanced. And so you're talking about 10,000 plus people, everybody working on data. CDO doesn't really sit in a company like that, right? Every department head is a CDO equivalent in a way. So it was in operations because of that, because acquiring data, processing data, a lot of it is operations, day-to-day operations for us. I think it has been moved to product recently. I personally quite like that. because that's our product. That's what we're selling. Once you put it under product, the way I see it is that there's more attention and better investment into the data science. So when I say it has been put under product, I'm talking about the core data science division of the company. Okay, which
And is that true of data engineering as well, or is data engineering
data
kind of a
engineering
separate
is
function?
separate function. This is not the IT, this is not the data engineering, this is more of the data science and people who design the product.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so putting them under the product means that there's more focus and therefore you can attract the right kind of investment from the stakeholders, from the management into the product.
Yep, I think,
So I
that
think
makes
that's a good
sense.
move.
And Shell, are you seeing the same thing? I mean, is that
Yes, I mean, I would say there's been a trend which is going on for probably the last 20 years where we're moving from data science as being primarily around insights and trying to identify how to make our business better to moving towards this being around data science, machine learning, AI products. And so hence you see organizations spinning up product management teams for data science and AI. You see folks looking at now like a CDAO as a person who is the ultimate owner of this portfolio of data products, machine learning products, AI products. And so I think that organization has been happening, and that is sort of key to being really recognizing the value from data science, because the insight side, it's valuable, but it's often hidden. Versus when it goes into a product, it can be measured, it's ongoing, it's long-lived in a way
this
that...
world of data
yeah.
productization? Like, this seems to be the rage at like all the conversations that people are having, right? It's a little confusing in many ways because I think it's still a moving target. But if you had to define data productization or data products, what is a data product?
That is an excellent question,
And
because
everybody
it's very
talks
much in the
about
eye
we're
of
moving towards
the
it, but
eye
nobody
of
knows
the
what it
beholder.
actually is.
It definitely is a product where the features and the value is primarily derived from data and the manipulation and processing of that data. So it can be as simple as a BI dashboard, but it shouldn't be, right? It is much more about something in which you're embedding data, machine learning models in order to drive new functionality, new use cases,
I think
and
it's the
things that we couldn't before.
self-service and containerized capability. It's the explainability built in, the trustability, the lineage, all those components. But it's interesting because every time I have that conversation, that seems to be the way that like data organizations have organized themselves to say, well, this is not a technology thing, because it really is about product, right? But if you talk to enough, technology people, CIO, CTO, they'll still argue data should report into the technology organization. So, and by the way, at Kaiser, I'm sure this conversation happened like 10 years ago. But
It is helpful to think about what's different. And I think what is the key element of it is different, that is different from other traditional applications, is the model, or the multiple models that you're leveraging into it. So that makes it much, much harder than a traditional software development product, in the sense of you don't know whether or not what you're trying to do is actually achievable. You don't know whether or not that model will be good for a day, a minute, an hour, or all the way through next year.
So you need more of that, built-in explainability, or that built-in kind of measurement to kind of go with it.
Well, you need that capability to develop those models, deploy those models, retrain them, monitor them. And that aspect of it is a whole other set of different technologies, a different technology stack that needs to be integrated into your software development lifecycle.
And Seth, where does data at a engineering, at a data science level, live inside of Kaiser and how you're organized?
Everywhere.
Okay.
I think Kaiser is a very large organization, and so the way that I can talk through at least my team and kind of how I perceive it, we actually do kind of the data productization, because I think the team was originally founded to provide insights at the strategic level, to say, hey, which markets do we go after, which accounts, and it started out as dashboards, and we started rolling this out, and everybody come back and said, okay, so this is great, now what do we do with it? So they wanted to get a more prescriptive, and the more we thought about it, this is more a product that needs to support the engagement of our sales and account management team. And so we started productizing it. But at the same time, because Kaiser is very large and we have data scientists sitting in various parts of the organization, like care delivery, in IT, they have very specific use cases. There's no way for us to centralize and say, oh, the data scientist needs to sit in one box. It makes no sense because coming from the analytics space, I always recommended if you're doing business intelligence, AI, data science, you got to be close to the business. You got to know what the problem you're trying to solve, be there, and have the framework, have the air support that you need to be able to build a scalable solution. So the way we do it ourselves is we've got our data scientists, data engineers operating as a pod together with our platform engineers. So everybody's in one box, and then we partner, right? We partner with our IT team, we partner with our external vendors, and we build this huge collaboration mechanism where everybody comes together. And the beautiful thing with this process is everybody's interested in learning, right? I think there's this huge amount of collaboration. There are no, this is my territory, so don't step on it. We do get that. Any organization, you're going to see that. But I think we've been successful where we are. I think the conversation is still there, right? As a company, what do we centralize? Do we centralize a platform? Do we buy a common platform and then everybody uses it? And this, for an organization like us, PI data is extremely important. So data security is a key component. So there's always an emphasis on, okay, can we bring it all together so that we don't have all these different teams going out and doing random things, buying one product here and one product there? That's always the challenge, right?
Well, and it's an interesting push and pull, right? Because I think having data science embedded in individual organizations really enables more of an agile framework.
Exactly.
It actually allows for collaboration. Everyone's on the same page. But, and I do talk with certain data organizations to try to make the argument that, no, they should be centralized. And, we really need to have control. We need to have standards. We need to have, some level of don't let everything run wild.
Yeah.
And it really is like that kind of push and pull. So I think as an industry, we're still figuring these things out. I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about talent. I feel like at the end of the day, sometimes attracting talent and kind of building and cultivating that talent pipeline is probably one of the hardest things to do inside of an organization. And depending upon how data is presented and organized for your company, the reality is you might well miss, kind of that attractive reason to have data. And good data talent come to you.
Yep.
What are you doing inside of your organization to cultivate talent, to build that pipeline, to drive principles of diversity and inclusiveness? How are you actually bringing the right talent to bear?
For me?
Please start. We'll go down the line, but we'll start with you.
I think that's the number one thing that keeps me up at night. First of all, we're not some shiny startup company, that can give our RSUs and the stock options. We're a healthcare. We're a traditional business, right? And so we have to hire the best talent that we can afford. And everyone on the team that we've had so far, we had almost very little attrition. And the reason for that is when they join, we keep emphasizing, you're here because you believe in Kaiser's mission. And the mission is to provide high quality, affordable healthcare. Now, if you bought into that mission and you feel, like I think Nick, you were talking about leaving the finance industry to do something better. I left Tesla to be here, right? So when I think about that, I'm like, that's the type of people that we need, and we need smart people, right? And so we want to try to bring in and create that culture that you're not just there, because healthcare in America is broken. We need to figure out a way to. Kaiser innovated this almost 80 years ago. We have an opportunity to bring AI to revolutionize and innovate a new model, right? So people buy into that vision, and that's the reason. But yeah, it's not an easy job, right? Keeping that inspiration alive, ensuring that we can hire from the right talent at the right level, being able to keep them going. I think it's an incredibly difficult job.
Mission alignment.
Mission alignment, yeah.
And Shipra, for you?
Well, for us, there are various grounds where we recruit people, and as the shinier startups and other industries come up which pay more, we've had various
100-year-old
challenges.
companies have a shiny startup?
Yes, we have had various challenges in terms of keeping up. And as a company, we've tried quite a few things. There's some of my favorites. Of course, we believe a lot on recruiting someone fresh and having homegrown people rise up. That remains constant over the years. But how do you go and recruit when you're competing with so many industries? We've even done things, and we still do, Nielsen University, where we go and actually are educating people. We do internships, paid internships, internships, and all of that to find the right talent. But we, at least for within our industry and then the expanded competition, we are kind of a recruitment ground. People come, get trained at NIQ, go somewhere else, and we are fine with that. They come back as well.
Sure.
This also means that almost every, I've served so many clients across so many countries. I've spent time in different countries. Every other meeting I sit in, a client person will say, "Oh, I'm ex-Nielsen." So that really works for us as well, even for competition in the industry.
Turns out it's a business development strategy.
There was a time we used to actually put people on secondment, and our vision was lose your best talent to the client side.
That's true. I mean, it's a really. I feel like it's a 49er strategy for at least like the past 20 years.
Works for the consulting firms.
Yeah, that too, right? Shell, from your side.
I mean, there's so many things that we could touch on here. We could touch on the fact that people massively overestimate how much attraction there is to the tech giants. I mean, we talked about how data science was supposed to be the sexiest job of the 21st century. Well, if that's the case, why are so many data scientists really, really miserable? And so the ability that you have in order to attract people by being able to say, well, here you're going to be able to work on a bunch of different projects. Here you're going to be able to have an impact. Here your work is going to have meaning. You're not going to be focused on this optimizing this tiny model for this particular use case for a couple of years, and that's the only thing that you're going to be doing. So don't underestimate your abilities to do this. So on that side of things, obviously a bunch of new roles and skills that folks are now looking for, whether that be prompt engineer, although I don't think that's really a job.
Yeah, no,
Don't create those roles, please. But for whether it is for folks who can operationalize LLMs or for data science product managers, there are all of those needs. But I would say the biggest need that I see out there in most organizations is really on the leadership talent. You can hire folks. There are plenty. There's talent out there like never before at the lower levels. But folks who actually have the experience of driving that value, who can be the business translators, who can go in and represent what is being done at that senior level, and in particular, folks at that senior levels. Increasingly, I'm seeing folks looking for CDAOs who have experience going in and building these kinds of products, and not necessarily be trained as a data scientist, but that'd be great too, but who have those kind of success stories under their belt. So really looking at yourselves, looking at this crowd, looking at how you develop your own second-in-commands and those levels. That's where I think the need is.
Strong leadership will kind of beget, stronger in the ranks. I want to open up for Q&A, and we'll come around with microphones, give everyone a chance if there are questions, anything you want to add to the topic or ask or kind of share, by all means. This is an open space for that. And as we're doing that, Shipra, one other thing I know has come up a lot for me, and I know we've talked about this probably after dinners, late places, but I feel like there's not enough women in technology, not enough women in data. We have a great representation. Thank you all for being here, and thank you. Please keep coming back to these things. But what are you doing, and what can we do, both as advocates as well as being in kind of these positions to help foster and create more participation and more training and talent cultivation in that space?
Sure. I think the gap starts early, is what I see, right from middle school onwards. So to be able to bridge it at corporate level, we have to rethink how to do that. When we are looking at talent acquisition, I'm guessing, I'll just generalize, there are a few things you look at. You look at skills, you look at attitude, you look at potential, future potential, and you look at the fit with your company mission, etc., right? If you see that in a candidate, and there are and skills can be technical, leadership skills, domain expertise, etc. You have all of this, but you did not have mathematics or statistics in your graduation. Those are skills that can be cultivated. I'll give you my own example, and I just loved the word that you used, translators, because that's how I explain my job. So I have moved from, though I am from STEM background, whatever, but I have moved from always being a salesperson and a business person my entire first 2 decades of the career to data science, exactly because of this. Somebody thought that, we have all these smart people, we need somebody who can take this and translate it to management and to clients, right? So I think focus on transferable skills. And whatever some of the technical skills that come from a typical STEM background how critical are those in a role, and can those people be upskilled? I strongly believe that upskilling is not that difficult if you provide the right environment. I think getting the right attitude, right leadership is a bigger challenge today in data science and kind of environment. Having said that, and I'll take a few more seconds on this. I am also part of a ERG, employee resource group, for my company for women. Okay, and the task we have is different in different countries. So some countries the task is to increase the representation of women to middle level or whatever. Some countries it's to increase the representation of women to top leadership. Like in North America, where I'm one of the leads, we have enough women in senior leadership level, we have the right representation. So then it goes on to more intersectional women, to be women of color, for example, to be getting into that. So I guess define what you want to achieve. So you're working towards a goal, and
if you
it's
don't
not
set
just
the goals,
if
you
you don't
won't
set
meet
the
them.
you
Yeah.
won't
That's
meet
really
them.
right. Questions, audience? You guys have microphones sitting on your tables. Anybody?
While that's happening, I can tell you a story. And my wife runs a data science team for the state of Massachusetts, and she has a really, really hard time hiring straight white males. Right? They have got, I think they might have one or two out of a 16-person team, and we're pretty sure they're gay.
When you say has a hard time,
Yeah.
like it's
They are
hard to find them, or it's like they're like just don't want to do it, adverse to doing it.
They don't come because the pay's not good enough. They're whatever it is, they get outcompeted by the female and minority talent that they have. And this is, again, they're not doing this because of the pay. They're doing this because of the mission. They're doing this because of the quality of life. They're doing this because of the support. They're doing this because of the growth opportunities. So I think if you get those right, I think it's all incumbent on us to create those kind of environments that folks want to be part of.
Sure.
But that being said, it does start early. We need to nurture that talent.
You need to nurture it. You need to mandate it. I saw one question. Yeah, please.
Yeah, a quick question on what tactics, if you have any. I completely agree with you. The talent attraction piece is a challenge. I work in healthcare life sciences. Mission takes us so far, but the attraction of tech, big tech, and to be able to have a larger impact is huge. So I'm just wondering from the panelists here, what tips, recommendations you have for attracting talent, finding talent.
Yeah, I can speak to it. So yeah, right. Mission gets you so far. It's funny. One thing I've noticed, at least with the data scientists we've hired, is they love a challenge, right? And I think in the recruiting process, in the nurturing process that we build across the organization, it's helping them find those meaningful, and again, in healthcare, there's no shortage of it, right? Is finding those meaningful challenges that they want to volunteer to work with, and they bring friends, right? I think that's the other thing, which is, we've got folks coming from UC San Diego, UCLA, and, they've got an alumni organization, and we tap into that, and we try to, bring them in. And of course, they get offers from other organizations, but, so I think part of that is nurturing and creating that approach to basically reaching out. So I don't know if that helps.
And I'll also highlight Shipra's answer as well. I think the concept of building your own homegrown and having the right programs for training and upskilling, and also just making sure that people are in the pipeline, combined also with Shell's idea of good leadership and kind of devolving some of that. I think those are all really good strategies. So thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.